Oh my gosh. How do you make it be quiet? Music off. Oh my gosh. How do you make it be quiet? I think I found it. Give me a second. Music off. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to read you something. How do you make it be quiet? I think I found it. Give me a second. Music off. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to read you something. How do you make it be quiet? I think I found it. All right, just hold on. Okay, maybe that's it. I think so. All right, so I learned something else on the YouTube channel. It was playing live, and anyway, well, good afternoon, you all. Hope everyone had a amazing Thanksgiving. If you got, let me just ask you, and I appreciate everyone letting me know, but if you got a text tonight before I went live, probably about 9-10 minutes or so ago, if you got a text, just write text, please. Like a text message with a link. There was a voice note, and then there was a link to the live for tonight. If you got a text message. If you did not, you see that there in the bottom of the screen, text JW3 to 844-868-9955. You see if I can. I'll try to drop that in the chat. 844. Good. Hey, Precious. Good evening, Ms. Layton. If you got a text from me, just type text. And if you did not, I'm going to ask that you, and you want a text message, that is, you know, text JW3 to 844-868-9955. All right, so there it is. Hey, Jamie, great. I'm glad that you got a text. Good. And thank you for letting me know. All right. What did Jordan pull out? No, there she is. This one right here, this one right here, that's my firstborn. That is Jordan. Jordan, tonight we're going to talk about Dallas and how things went. And it'd be really interesting. I don't know. You want to come up with me? Or maybe at a later time. Let me see. How can I do that? All right. So, Bug, what I'm going to do is I am going to put in the chat a link. And if you want to join me at a certain time, would love for you to. And anyone else for that matter. I see Jamie here. And then there are a few others. Okay. So, Thanksgiving. I hope you all's Thanksgiving was great. My wife and I spent a week and a half or so talking to you guys about how it is and what was going on with our Thanksgiving and how the holidays can be for us. And, we had great hope, great aspirations. If you go back and you look at one of my YouTube fingernails, it was me with my hands lifted, thanking the Lord for a matter that had become a stream of conscience even while I was on during that live. One of the things I've had to learn as I've grown in my walk with God has been He treats me differently. You cannot have junior college experience with third grade textbooks. And what I'm saying is that our growth is determined and always reflected in where we are. The exercises are commensurate to where we are. And when I realized that really That really did something to me. It made me kind of settle down a little bit. And I learned this a while back, several years ago. Learned this a while back. And I've referred to it so much because sometimes, we expect how it used to happen to be the same effort that it'll take for it to happen again. And that's not always the case. And so just with that framework for our time together on this Mental Health Monday, if you haven't commented, liked, or shared, please do so. Especially even in that voicemail I stated, the text message, that share this with someone that may have had a rough time, or maybe is going through a rough time. At least bookmark the YouTube link. Man, I tried so hard. I'm gonna try to get through this without emotions. Not that I'm ashamed of them. I'll cry in a second, but there are a few things that I want to say in the next 15 minutes or so. I tried so hard. I tried to prepare my spirit, myself, my mind, my body. So I'm in my doctorate. I'm enrolled in my D-Min, and my D-Min is in the space of mental health, particularly Black men ages 25 through 35 with comorbidities, meaning that they've got more than one mental health situation. And we're in our last week. This is our last week for the semester. And I had some things I had to do before we left, and I had the cutoff for that Tuesday. We head to Dallas on Wednesday, had the cutoff for that Tuesday, and 98% I made it. I was able to take the trip without that looming over my head. Just had to, zip it up. So I was in a good place. I prepared myself spiritually. I prepared my own human spirit. I prepared my studies, some things that are going and are happening in JB3 Communications, me, when it comes to speaking and really advocating in this mental health space. I've done my work to get to where I needed to be. I tried so hard, and my trying wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to make the holiday our Thanksgiving pilgrimage. We go to Dallas every single year for Thanksgiving. Maybe we've missed 3 times going. But no matter how much I tried, I just wasn't all the way there. And I want you to understand that if that's you, it's your reality. It is your reality. I tried so hard. It wasn't the best Thanksgiving, but it wasn't the worst either. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. There have been some Thanksgivings I don't even remember because of the dark place that I've been, because the shell of a man that mental illness can leave you. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best either. Now, here's the thing, and this is where our family is pretty big. Our family is pretty big on finding things to celebrate, no matter what happens, no matter how catastrophic an event is, no matter how devastating an event is, no matter how much something takes your breath away, there's something that you can be grateful for. Did you hear what I said? And that's what makes Thanksgiving, because you're giving thanks about you haven't seen God or seen what could have happened that would have made it worse than it ended up being. Now, nobody looks for bad things to have to celebrate in. That actually is a mark of your maturity in Christ when you can find some good in even bad situations. I mean, when we look at the cross, it was called a Maundy Thursday, but then it got to a Good Friday. Well, what is so good about dying on the cross, being sacrificed for sins that you never committed? You are God yourself. You're the Son of God. Well, the only reason it was good is because what was going to happen on Sunday morning, that would be a resurrection. So sometimes you have to look back on a matter to be thankful for how a measure came out. But I always want you to remember, this is totally off off script. But Jesus had been preparing his disciples for what was going to happen. He had been preparing them for this crucifixion that was going to happen. He started talking about there will come a time when I will leave you, but I'll send a comforter. He talks about, I'm going away to prepare a place for you, but we all will dwell in my Father's house. There had even been the text that they had studied, the text in the book of Isaiah, and even the imagery that is seen in the book of Psalms. Everywhere, anywhere you look in the Old Testament, you can look and see Jesus, even the tabernacle. Maybe not the words, but when you look at the image of the tabernacle, you see that the way the tabernacle was shaped is in the same structure and ratio as the cross would be. When you begin to study the items that are actually in the tabernacle, you can see Jesus. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I chose to see Jesus in Thanksgiving. And I know I got Christmas coming. So it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. My wife and I talked about this a bit because I know this could seem to be almost like too clear of a peer into my heart and into my soul and into where I am and really just came out of as a family and even as a man. And so my wife and I had to talk about this. I felt, let me tell you, I have the propensity to tell people too much. And my wife has the propensity to keep me, to help me not tell too much. And we talked about this and I brought it up and she says, yeah, I think that would be good because people need to be able to see a man who's dealing with mental health, how he makes it. And so I hope that me even being honest and upfront and allowing you to glare into my life, I hope that helps. I hope that it helps. Let me tell you what happened for me. I'm noticing that I'm getting short in the airport. I blamed it on taking the dog to the sitter that morning. I had to make another stop that could not be averted. I planned to make that stop. And so we were a little harried in getting out. Became more Chiefs than Indians at one point. And I felt myself starting to burr, B-U-R-R, in my saddle. And sometimes I felt myself kind of rising up in the wrong kind of way. And thank God I had enough, or I think I had enough to tamp down some of those moments. I look at it, I wasn't 100% successful at all of them. Nonetheless, I blamed it on not enough sleep the night before and having to do too many things the night of. And so we get to the airport and we're walking through and I'm kind of chirping at, that's what athletes do. So Quad came back on me. He says, yeah, we were chirping on the sidelines. We were chirping at them. That means that they were poking fun. And I found myself chirping too much. It's one thing to chirp at somebody in a competitive way. It's another thing to chirp at somebody from your place of maybe your authority. And I say that because the Bible says that the man is the head of the house. And that's not cool. You know, that's not how it should go. That's not how it should look. It should be the case. Start kind of getting my attention. Then I started trying to plan when we got to the airport. My wife and I, we have a TSA and clear. The kids didn't have one or the other. And whenever I get to the point, I say, just whatever you say, it's because I've gotten frustrated and it's because I'm trying to keep, I'm trying to stay in community. Now, I think I need to explain that one a bit. Am I just talking to the wind? Is anybody out there listening to what I'm saying? You know, are you just a number? If I am, drop a heart or something, a fist, a pound, praise hands or something. I want to know if this landing, or if it, just let me know if you hear me. If you can hear what I'm saying, that's good enough. I'm not asking you to identify, though that link there is there. If you want to chat a bit, of course, I'll take time. Hmm. Abandonment. So this is what I'm feeling now. I hadn't thought through this part before I got on, but I'm thinking about the pain of abandonment. There's a pain that is associated with abandonment that can be horrendous. It can be, they put you in solitary confinement. Thank you, Ms. Layton. Thank you, Ventures. Thank you for your continued support, Ventures. I appreciate that. They put people in solitary confinement for a reason. It's not just it's not just some place to go when you screw up, but it's a place where you go that can take your mind. Okay. So me and my efforts and intentions to witness and to be a light, I've made some pretty surly friends over the years, associates. They grew to be friends. And one of my friends was in his former life, he had been someone to fear. He was known for taking matters into his own hands. And so he got locked up, went to prison, and something happened with a group against another group. And he did what you do when you are in that life. And he ends up getting thrown into solitary confinement. I don't remember how long. First it's humiliating. It's dehumanizing. People do it differently. Sometimes you don't have clothes on. There's no regulated air conditioning or heating, cooling, and they slide your plate in. This is what he's telling me, not what's on the movies, but what he was telling me is what's on the movies. And he told me, he says, you literally lose your mind. He said, I start seeing other things and hearing other voices. That's what isolation does. Please hear me. Whether I'm talking to someone who had to struggle through the holidays, or if I'm talking to someone who had to witness somebody struggling through the holidays, abandonment, isolation is I'm going to use a Shannon Sharp word, a mofo. And that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of the three that I love the most: Alicia Toy, Jordan Elise, Jasper the Fourth, abandoning me. And I got angry because of what I could not take control of in order to be able to be included in that community. So I found myself sitting on the circumference of conversations. I remember seeing Quad and Alicia and Jordan walking, and Jordan has this very loud, distinctive laugh. And they're just laughing and having fun. And Quad, his hair, and he's got that hat, that newbie that sits on the top of his head. And my wife smiling and really happy for her. She was so happy to be a mom and have those kids home. I was happy as well. But I found myself like observing them, even sitting at a table. When we first got in, we didn't go to my in-laws' homes. We didn't go to Alicia's mom and dad's house. We went to dinner. That was our choice, but they had some things going on. Whatever. It wasn't any love loss. It wasn't anything that, it wasn't that. We went to dinner. I remember sitting at the restaurant, like listening to them talk. I'm like sitting, I'm feeling as though I'm sitting at the table behind us, trying to listen and trying to engage with what it is that they were saying. couldn't be present, even though I was trying hard to be present, but was afraid of being in isolation and being abandoned by the three that I loved the most, but afraid to open my mouth to contribute to the community and to the conversation. Y'all, this isn't just the holidays. This, unfortunately, has been my life. And that pains me to say that. To raise kids, Elise and I would have been married 27 years in March. To think that 27 years, while all this was happening and going on, and knew it was there, didn't have words, couldn't describe it, didn't have any necessary patterns, being undiagnosed, being misdiagnosed. Man, that is a hell of a price to pay for me and for my wife and those kids, and for it to happen during Thanksgiving. Ugh, such a special time. So my Temu is it, right? Temu is this new thing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about, where I'm going next. I'll just talk for however long. So Temu is it. And my wife, she got these very, very, very nice glasses. I don't know if you've ever known a glass connoisseur, someone who likes, fine made glass. But we had someone over and we gave them, a little tumbler, some juice or something to drink. And they just, oh, this is nice. So anyway, Temu's it, right? Well, my wife, this is her new place to shop. So she's shopping for Christmas stuff. Anybody just put stuff in the buggy, in the basket, in your little shopping cart? Not because you're going to buy it, but you don't want to forget where it was. And so when it's time to check out, you can then start to do your math and realize or compute, am I really going to buy this? Am I not? She accidentally bought it all and couldn't figure out how to cancel the order. I said, baby, just don't even worry about it. So we have Christmas stuff everywhere. Yesterday, I put up 1,000 lights. It came on this scroll thing. Alicia was there, but we wrapped the tree about 27 times with these 1,000 lights. It was Temu. And to think about how active the season is, knowing that Christmas is 3 weeks or so away, man, it hurts. It scares me. And miss me with that, faith thing, please. My faith is broken. One of the worst things you can ever say to anyone who's struggling with any kind of mental health or any kind of illness at all is that your faith isn't strong enough. That aggravates me. That aggravates me. I've tried to be a man of integrity and live my life of such, and husband of one wife, and raise my kids and be present. I am in faith that the holidays will not end the way that they started. I'm going to do everything. Faith without works is dead. But this Christmas cheer that's supposed to be here is not here yet. And it's because I don't have enough faith. I'm going to figure out what it is. Wait till y'all see my story. I just recorded a few weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks or so ago, my whole story. And maybe that'll translate the pain of what it feels like to be stuck in this place without knowing the expiration date. And in my case, to live through the holidays with this witch, if you know what I mean. Thanksgiving was good, though. The actual day of Thanksgiving was good. I leaned into it. I had that night. I went to bed. I got some sleep. Wasn't enough. Whenever you're dealing with, and I call them episodes, that sleep, it's almost like you can't get enough. Or even when you get too much, it still feels, it gets crazy. Sometimes I can't sleep, and other times I sleep for inordinate amounts of time. But either way, it ends up being and making me feel the same way the day after. Maddening. Anyway, Thanksgiving, get up, go to Thanksgiving, there to be with extended family. It was really nice. One of my relatives, they had a community room um, in the building that they live in. I mean, it was just us. We shut the place down. Had TV at the end, and the guys are watching TV and connecting with cousins and talking to aunts, watching my wife smile, and you know, Quad chatting with this one, and Jordan chatting with this one, and Quad ends up with his grandfather and what is it, second uncle and his uncle, and all sitting around watching TV. And Quad has on his Cowboys jersey, and I really enjoyed it. I can remember a couple of conversations, but you know what it was? I was enjoying the life that was coming from those that were there that brought life with them. And I'm talking about life. Speak easy for kids. All right. I don't know if you really know me or know my story. There's a link that's there, and you're happy to come up. But let me just show y'all. I'm depressed. You depressed. Okay. Here we go. Again, I don't know that you know me, and you might want to be careful weighing in on something that you may not know the totality of it. Not sure what to say. If you care to come and talk about it, there is a link that's there. Let me see. How can I put this? How can I put this link here? Okay, so there's the link. If anybody can copy and paste that for me, it would be great if you could. Oh, I got it right here. All right, here's the link. I'd love to have a civil conversation with you. So there we are. All right, let me take that one down. Oh, you do? Okay, come on up then. Click the link. Speak easy for kids. But life giving, being, and when I see you in the green room, I'll invite you on. Life giving. There's the life of God that flows through creation. And every person that was there during Thanksgiving, they had something they didn't even know I needed. And God coordinated the day, because not only does life come from, how long have I been up here? Man, almost 30 minutes. I better wrap this up. Not only does God coordinate life from people, but God also has imprinted the earth and the land with special gifts. And I don't know what was in that land that was there. I just know that I enjoyed them. And we were going to the movies that night, and because I was tired, I was trying to fight to stay awake. I don't know if my wife caught me or not. She didn't say anything. Sometimes she'll hint to let me know. But it was being with the family. That day was good. By the time I got back to the hotel, I was ready to go to bed. Kind of drug myself again through Friday. Why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all of this. So there's nothing to brag about. And I'm not the kind of person that has pity on myself. I'm not the kind of person that highlights only the failures. I feel like we can give the enemy too much press. We can talk about what the devil did too much, but then I also feel like there are times that we don't talk enough about what our internal struggles are. What you see could be transposed as a man who has his life together. All right, speak easy. I'll try again. Let me see what else see how I can do this. And that's why I'm telling you this. I am telling you because I want you to see what it really looks like. Okay, I think I got Jessica there, and let me just bring on Jessica. I've never done this before. All right, there we go. Jessica,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is this Corwin's Jessica?
No, it's Speak Easy. That's my first name is Jessica.
Okay, all right, I got it. I know Jessica that follows us, that follows me. So welcome tonight. I'm glad that you tapped the link. Hey, what? Tell me what you know about me, or tell me even why you clicked the link.
Well, I know that you are living with some mental health challenges. And I mean, I followed you. I saw you deliver a message.
You still there?
Your videos now, but when you said that you were
Mhm.
tired and you were talking about sleeping and not sleeping enough and then sleeping too much, and how you were feeling after both experiences, I asked the question, "Are you depressed?" So that's why I put it in the chat. So
Oh,
yeah, you were
oh.
what you were sharing were symptoms of that, and
Mhm,
that's why I just asked the question, "Are you depressed?" So knowing that this is you're transparent and you're open and this is a safe place, that's
mhm.
why I asked.
I
So
appreciate
it
that.
wasn't any offensive or anything. I just wanted to know if that's what was happening.
Listen, I appreciate that. Sometimes when you're reading a chat, or reading anything, a text message or whatever, it can come off like you depressed,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that you took a moment to to hop in and to say that. Um, and I would say yes and maybe, and yes and no maybe. I think it's more than that. I think it is first, I'm honored that you would be interested in my story and would invest time to listen um, to me and to what I've said. That means an awful lot to me, and I appreciate that. The This horrible combination of the stuff certainly has some depression in there. So it was clinical depression, severe anxiety, IED, which is intermittent explosive disorder, bipolar 2. I think I got them all. Oh, and some ADHD. That is my symptomatic diagnosis. And I can control it by doing a few things. And I try to keep to this regiment, to this routine. Sometimes I get off kilter. But then there's also another spiritual component, and that is the curses that can be on time, and time is cyclical. And the holidays have traditionally been hard for me, and I've tried to get ahead of it. I've prayed into it. I've cleansed time many, many, many times. My wife and I both, we've gotten into faith, and we've done everything that we know to do for there to be beautiful holidays. And I've had some success. I've had some success a few times, a number of times actually. And so all of that put together, I still don't understand why this year. So to say, are you depressed? It feels like that. It feels like, and I've got a whole lot of indicators around not just that, but other issues that help me understand more about where I am in the self awareness. So, thank you for your concern, and thank you for your interest, and thank you for asking that. Is there anything else that you care to say or add?
Well, it sounds like to me that as we grow, it's sort of like being on medication. After a while, you become immune to it, and you have to either shift in what you're taking, or you increase it, or decrease it, or change it to something else. And so, because it sounds like because this year is different, that may be the case. That it's just a different time because you're elevating to another level, and you're also anticipating what's going on, and that there can trigger your body's reaction. Your mind may be saying one thing, your body may be saying another, and so that plays a part in it as well. I have family members that are living with ADHD, anxiety, depression, and so on. And so those um, challenges, when they arise, it happens that way because they begin to anticipate what's going on. And it's sort of like being an introvert. You know, you know it's coming, you're excited about it, you can be an extrovert, but then your introverted self is like, yeah. So then your body starts to react. So it's a combination of things. And so what we started to do is I started to encourage them to write. And I'm not going to say this because I'm trying to promote a business that I have, but I started creating journals for them.
What
And
do
their
you do?
journals, I,
What do you do?
I own a company. We teach communication skills to children in grades K through 5.
Okay.
And then I have an emotional support, mental health support gear line. And so those include hats, hoodies, eye masks, anything that someone needs to allow them to take 15 minutes and notify the people in their lives that they're taking that time.
How'd you
So
end up in the mental health space?
my children, so
Okay.
dealing with them at a young age. So
Mhm.
my oldest, it showed up when she was in 5th grade. And that's when it usually happens when they're younger. And then my
Mhm.
youngest, it showed up in like middle school, high school.
Mhm.
So for me,
You had to
that's
educate
where
yourself.
it started. And so I started
Mhm.
creating these journals, where they can document their negative thoughts because those are the things that can trigger your body as well and your thinking as well. So I have these journals for negative thoughts where they can write down those thoughts and then they can counter those thoughts with positive thoughts and then start assessing and things like that. And so that's what got me into it, and that's what makes me so sensitive to it, this mental health challenges. So yeah, I mean it's not someone's imagination.
Yeah.
It's a real
So
thing.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Everything you've said, I've done and I do regularly. I believe that when you write, for me, writing with a pen and paper, it connects my head and my heart better. I am under psychiatric care, have been for years, with regular appointments and treatments, and I've got a therapy session coming up on this upcoming Friday, and those are the ways in which I have been able to regulate and to remain engaged. And it's been a tremendous help, not just for me, but also for my wife. And I thank you for sharing with the community and even reinforcing with me or to me how it is that you have the way it is that you have in making those suggestions. And may I just honor you, ma'am, to still be vested and for you to see victory with your children and even pursue not only your company, but also the merch and the gear. I do believe strongly that people with mental illness, struggling with mental wellness, health, whatever it is you want to call it, um, that sometimes they have accepted a face as normal that is pretty abnormal.
Right.
And for there to be these kinds of conversations, healthy conversations such as this, I like to even say conversations being held in humility. I hope you feel as though I've respected and honored you. I certainly
Absolutely.
that has
Absolutely.
been the case with me, but I believe it's also how people learn, it's how people engage each other. And I'm not a master at any of the stuff. I have given, I guess you can say, this second part of my life to advocating on behalf of mental health. And I'm
Yeah.
watching God do some pretty big and amazing things. And again, I just thank you for your time and what is it you share with me and the audience. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. God bless
All
you.
right, and God bless you too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, goodbye. That was good. All right, Miss Jessica. I have okay. All right, you're gone. Thank you so very much, Jessica, for what is it you said, how you shared it. I really appreciate that. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up. Tonight has been heavy. Shucks. Let me give you these 3 tips. Um, well, takeaways, and this is what I will continue to employ. I'm looking forward to doing this. 3 things: being a part of a community that is loving and patient. My children and my wife, they've had to learn how to handle me, and they have so much grace for me, and they offer me dignity while they also are respecting themselves. To be a part of a community that is loving and patient is priceless. Here's the next thing, and I've got some community stuff that's coming up, my own personal community of engagement that's coming up, even one tomorrow. Here's the second thing. I'm not a quitter. I try again. So for me, Christmas is going to be awesome. I know what she said about the anticipation of things and stuff being elevated. All that is right. I've got some techniques and it is that I employ that help me bring me back to center. Maybe one day we'll talk about some of those things, some specific therapy that I've had that has helped tremendously. And I am anticipating, trusting and trembling, if you would, Christmas. It's not over. It is not over. All this stuff, all this holiday stuff, it's got to be put up, and it's going to get put up, and it's going to get put up with me reminding myself what it is that we're celebrating and who it is that I love. So, being a part of a loving and patient community, someone that will listen to you. That's one of the most horrific things that anybody can do, is to try to talk to someone, and the person that they're talking to, either they're looking through them, they're doing a minimal amount of listening, or just being blatantly disrespectful. That can make it really hard. And sometimes the one you think, the community or the person or the persons that you think would be patient with you are not patient, but it doesn't mean that you don't owe it to yourself to find a community that will be. All right, so part of that loving, patient community, trying again. I'm looking forward to Christmas because I want to work on some projects that I'm excited about. There's this thing called emotional imprinting. And whenever you can imprint either on the negative side, or you can imprint on the positive side. And all this has a foundation and principle in scripture. And then finding life without an agenda. I go back to our Thanksgiving day, not just dinner, but the day. We had no agenda. And I think that was a large part of what brought me joy, about what it brought me, a measure of love that I could receive. So try life without an agenda. And if not life, try living a day without an agenda. Like, don't plan. Try it. Just get in the car and drive. I don't know what life without an agenda would look like for you. I have kids. You can still come up with something without an agenda. God is there. God's in the big stuff, and God's in the little stuff. He's in the obvious stuff, and he's in the not so obvious stuff. And that's why I hang my hat on. Not knowing what the day is going to look like, what I'm going to get with none of that kind of stuff. The one thing that is always certain, that has never failed, is that God is there. I'll end on this. Remember, if you were there at the top, I said the day we flew in, we went to dinner and went to a Mexican restaurant, and my family's sitting here and we all are talking. Alicia, the kids, myself. And I said earlier, it felt like I was a part of our conversation by sitting at a table behind me and listening and looking over into the conversation that my family was having. But you know who was at that other table behind me as I thought I was sitting at another table? It was Jesus. God will never leave you nor forsake you. He'll never. When your mother and your father have forsaken you, the Bible says, then the Lord will come and lift you up. My question, I end on this: will you trust God to keep his word to you? Tonight's been real. Yeah, I see you, Ventress. Heavy but needed and good. Yeah, this messy journey called mental health. All right, God bless y'all. I hope you liked it. I hope I hope you did something to engage. Where's my little thing? I want to connect with you. I want to keep you up to date with things that are happening. I had that little bottom thing on the bottom. Uh, uh, next time.